Hey guys. So this is kind of like what you're seeing here is kind of like an addiction. Like you're basically seeing me like like a root through the fridge for like whatever alcohol is there because I just need it. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. This may not be much of a stream, but I do have something to say about RPG life, which I sort of described fairly well in more of a 30-minute stream. But yeah, I think basically today I was in my sort of endless quest to kind of centralize and minimize to the exact point that something is. Um, Today at work, like I really went into like let go rather than breathing. So recently at work, I've been doing more of the breathing. And the breathing has been very helpful. More and more, it seems like the breathing is kind of a representative of the safety net, which is not acting with fear. Because I'll tell you what, like, I wrote down somewhere, like, if you feel bad, just keep breathing or something. Um, and really, like, it's all, I don't want to necessarily say it's foolproof, but it's like, man, like, if you're feeling afraid or, in some way overwhelmed, the breathing, like connecting your breathing, just keeping doing that is very helpful. Now today though, interestingly, I was thinking like, you know what, like what is it? Basically I was thinking like is it kind of just a bunch of extra work and a bunch of extra complications for me to be doing all the RPG life stuff rather than just literally the letting go of everything and just leaving it at that. I think I ended up doing the 3 practices that I had remaining, and I had just about enough time to do it too. Like, if there was one more Vipassana session, um, I might not have made it by midnight. So, I did get through it today, but, like, there was some hesitation towards the end where it was kinda like, "Uh-oh," like, I feel like I gotta turn back right now, and like, "Oh, no." And, see, the thing is that could have just been fear. I don't even know how fucking comprehensible this is all. This might just be a bunch of like seemingly broken sentences. I don't even know, but again, I'm just kind of this is kind of like an addiction thing right now, like or at the very least, you know what? It's kind of like Matt doesn't really have people that he talks to. Um I did get to talk with people at work a little more today, like, or maybe a little more deeply, or I did end up talking with them a little more deeply than I usually did. And work went really well today too. Like, kind of just really pretty well across the board. But I really, I really think that I'm getting a sense that like, yeah, RPG life is really the way to go, at least for me. And doing those 5 practices, actually, let's do a part of it right now. Could I let go of thinking about any of my antagonists? Yeah, that's a good one because that helps you sort of let go of doors that you may be holding open for sort of more negative influences. In the same, a similar way to what Robert Bruce talks about towards the beginning of the Psychic Self Defense Handbook, which is pretty good. And I like there's at least one thing from it that I kind of continue to do, which is surrounding yourself by like an electrical cord. And so, like, if you're within the electrical cord and electricity is going through it, it's kind of like a bit of a protective layer energetically. And this all may sound insane, but if it sounds insane, then you probably found the wrong video. Because, this is just what it is. But yeah, you know what? I'm glad that I ended up doing those practices because I think they have been so helpful, and it could certainly be a sense. It could certainly be a sense of like kind of some kind of infiltration or some kind of even just thoughts, the mind itself or whatever, trying to stop me from going forward. And so it's like, oh no, Matt, it has to be like exactly this, this specific thing, or like, but is it that specific thing? Like, is it this or that? And I think ultimately, like, if there was one thing you took away, and I do say that it says it in RPG Life, like letting go is the only way. Ultimately, if there was one thing, I'd say, let go of everything. I mean, you have it in your fucking pocket, or at least I do. This is one I made yesterday. It's actually from Michael Clayton. See that? Isn't that so cool? Um, but LGOE, yeah. See, and I've made some of these little things where like it's kind of a little scene, and but it's kind of a scene that tells you about letting go. So this, for example, Michael Clayton has gone up the hill, and in following his intuition rather than just continuing to drive, and even what might seem like a more reasonable thing, drive as fast as he can away from somebody, he goes up a hill, and then he turns around, or he doesn't turn around yet, the car fucking explodes behind him. You know why? Because the car was gonna fucking blow up, and luckily he didn't necessarily know that, but it seemed like he had the sense that he was being chased. Semi spoilers, but it's sort of like they show you the scene at near the very beginning, and then but in any case, it's without necessarily a lot of context. But this is just, I mean, I love this movie, and I think Michael Clayton. I sent Matt McKinley an email, and actually, it seemed to pique his interest. He's like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "Should I watch that? Like, is it actually a good movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like, Michael Clayton is one of the most powerful spiritual movies I've ever seen, and I only really like started kind of realizing how deeply it went last night. Was it last? No, it might have been the night before when I was watching it. Um, and I have the DVD, but then I ended up renting it on Amazon because the DVD might have died. I might end up getting the effing Blu-ray because I love this movie. But yeah, Michael Clayton, and see, let go of everything. It's like, see, the fucking car explodes, but what is he gonna do? He's just keep letting go. And man, I that's a good movie. If you haven't seen Michael Clayton, do yourself the favor, man. And match it with the American if you haven't seen that, because those movies are like two George Clooney movies that kind of go together. Funny enough, I mentioned Michael Clayton at work the other day. Like, people were saying like, "Oh, Matt, they were referencing in some way how, like, how much like basically how much hustle I was doing or whatever." And I was like, "Well, the end of my life, the fucking end of my life is gonna be like Michael Clayton." And and both guys that I was like in the room with, they were like, well, talking to it slash in the room with, they were like, they hadn't seen it. And then I said, "Oh yeah, it's similar to another George Clooney movie that he was in called The American." And one of the guys was like, "Yeah, I've heard of The American, but I never heard of Michael Clayton." Like, they hadn't heard of it. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it came out this year, No Country for Old Men." It was actually up for an Oscar for Best Picture along with No Country for Old Men. And you know what? I mean, at this point, I might give it to Michael Clayton over No Country, and I love No Country. I mean, No Country is one of my favorite movies. I've had like big life experiences with No Country. No Country has been like a huge movie for me, but Michael Clayton is so good. I mean, they start with an incredible description of like the Loosh farm, like the whole first like opening monologue. It's essentially a guy describing like breaking out of the fucking soul sucking Loosh farm system that some say, like Robert Monroe of, I think it's in Far Journeys that he talks about that, or so I hear. I read Ultimate Journey. I didn't read the prior to, but yeah, Robert Monroe, he talks about the Loosh farm idea. And really, like, it's basically like kind of a Loosh farm thing at the beginning of the movie, and the movie just remains spiritual from there. Like, it doesn't seem necessarily like a very spiritual movie. It's George Clooney walking around in a suit saying like, "I'm the guy you buy, not the guy you kill. Are you so fucked up that you don't even know that?" or whatever. And but at the same time, like, the movie is like highly spiritual, and it kind of shows like the entire battle between like the evil, disgusting fucking forces of the world, and then the people who aren't necessarily evil, but well, they're basically, they're like, well, yeah, we know we're defending the bad guys, but like that's what our fucking job is. Like, that's what we're making the money doing. And then you have Michael Clayton, and he's like kind of a shitty guy. He's kind of dishonest through like even towards the end. Like there's a part where I realized like he was pretty much being deceitful in this part. So it doesn't seem like he's that good of a guy, but he's just barely like kind of breaking free. But then there's another guy who like really fucking broke free. But it's like, but here's the thing: it's like once you're into that kind of thing, and then you try to break free from it, or you kind of break free from it sort of naturally, maybe even if you sort of pursue that rather than staying with it, bad stuff might happen. And I mean, I highly recommend that whole movie.